We now have in the studio the Senior Special Assistant to the Minister of FCT on Monitoring, Inspection and Enforcement, Ikharo Attah. Thank you for joining us on News Hour, Ikharo.
A wonderful time being with Trust TV.
Now, why have we having demolitions in estates which were developed by developers who have been working with the administration?
I think one fundamental thing we have been able to see going forward is that some of the mass housing developers actually contravened. That's why we're having demolition in most of these estates around, particularly the ones in Phase 5. Currently, at the moment, the FCT administration is working towards tackling flooding. And some of the key areas where we see this flooding in very worrisome proportions are around estates where people build on floodplains and water corridors. Part of the Lokogoma area, like FR, IPEN 5, as well as the one recently we went to, that is the one at the Trademore Estate, just after the Voice of Nigeria along the Kubwa Expressway.
Now, look, how worried should people be? I mean, you are working with developers. You know that developers have, approval. How worried should people be now, those who have subscribed to some of these projects?
No, you shouldn't be worried. The fundamental fact is that what we are saying and what we are pushing is that Abuja is a city planned by law. At a certain point, the founding fathers of this city discovered that Lagos was already getting overstretched. And they came, they planned the city, and the city is governed by a master plan. Now, when those estate developers got their allocation, it was clearly stated that they should report to Development Control Department, where the town planners will look at the entirety of the allocation and approve for them where to build, where will be green, and the areas that will be waterway. As I speak to you now, I'll say it for free here, that the properties demolished or the properties cleared or removed, if we are to use some very friendly diction going forward here, those properties do not have building plan approval. That's the fundamental fact here. So when you are working with a developer, find time to consult and verify with AGIS, the Abuja Geographic Information System, because it's clear here that the buildings we are touching, the developers had come to say clearly that yes, we don't have building plan approval. Why then do you build or get off-takers to go and put their money where you know for sure that they won't get result? So they shouldn't be scared. If you're generally building, carry out your search very well and ensure that you don't build on floodplains, road corridors, or even on floodplains, river corridor, and even on road corridors. Because some of them in Lokogoma, now we're talking about flood, when we go to a point where we look at the road corridors, somebody will see a large expanse of road, sell the entire stretch, and tell us to divert road. We won't divert road because it's from the plan that ought to be road. When you sell the road, deceive people to go and buy the road and build on it heavily, when we come, we'll remove them.
Now, even if this is justified, wouldn't it have been better to stop the construction when it was still, at the early stage, rather than demolish after a lot of money has been sunk into the project?
Thank you very much. That's a nice question from Trust TV. Now, as a journalist turned enforcer, on the other part, before my destiny tends to be changing into enforcement, I had always asked that question. But when I now approach development control, at every contravention the minister of the FCT asked me to remove, I asked them to give me the file of the contraventions. Most of these buildings were marked from foundation level. As you lay foundation, they mark stop work. The man may believe at that time he knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. And when you get to lintel, they mark. When you get to roofing level, they mark. When you finish, they mark. And all of these are piled up. When you feel you are home and dry, a government will come that will say, okay, let's check the files. We check the files, we see the contravention, all the marking, even the one in Lokogoma, in Trademore. They said we gave them 48-hour notice. On some of the buildings, we are 3 years markings. 3 years. The mark last 3 years, mark last year, mark early this year, and now mark 48 hours before we moved in. about 3 or 4 days before. So once you start that, maybe sometimes, maybe lack of enough machine to run around the city, maybe lack of whatever, maybe even compromise on the part of our own staff, whatever it is. At the end of the day, a time will come when the chicken will come home to roast. Because when such illegalities are allowed to stand, Abuja will just be a time bomb waiting to explode.
Okay, thank you very much for speaking with us. Ikharo Attah is the Senior Special Assistant to the Minister of the FCT on Monitoring, Inspection and Enforcement.